Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video, I'm going to take a look at Shaman in Ashes of Outland. I will review all the Shaman cards that have been published and take a look at 6 theorycrafted decks that I have built for Shaman. If you enjoy content like this, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get all the notifications so that you don't miss any content. I'm going to do a video like this for every class. And then the Shaman class. Shaman is first of all getting a prime minion in Ashes of Outland, Lady Vashj. 3 mana 4/3 with spell damage +1. Okay. Death Rattle shuffle Vashj Prime into your deck. And Vashj Prime is a 7 mana 5/4 with spell damage +1 and a battle cry to draw 3 spells and reduce their cost by 3. So Vashj is going to be great when it works. But when will it work? You cannot tutor for Lady Vashj. Then you cannot tutor for the prime, so you have to draw a ton of cards to actually make that happen, and then you still have to have those spells in your deck to draw after the prime, because if you draw the spells first then the prime doesn't do anything. So you have to play it in a deck that has a lot of spells, because you can't just put specific spells and try to tutor them at reduced cost. So overall I think Vashj is one of the weaker prime minions. There are a couple of decks that you still probably want to put it in, but in a class that doesn't have a ton of card draw, and then this sort of, you need to find a specific card twice before it has its effect, then it just isn't that powerful. And that is not the only way Shaman is getting the short straw in Ashes of Outland. Just look at this stuff. Shattered Rumbler, 5 mana 4/6 elemental battle cry. If you cast a spell last turn, deal 2 damage to all minions. This is going to be errated into all other minions, by the way, when the game is going to be released. So it doesn't damage itself, but 2 damage to all minions. That typically doesn't kill much stuff. It really depends on the meta, but in most metas the 2 damage is not going to do much. Then there's Torrent. Deal 8 damage to a minion, cost 3 less if you cast a spell last turn. So if you cast a spell last turn, then you have a 2 mana deal 8 damage to a minion. And that's a pretty decent single target removal piece. Okay. Marsh Spawn, 3 mana 3/4 elemental. If you cast a spell last turn, discover a spell. That's actually a pretty decent card. But you have to put a big mix of these minions and spells into your deck, and you have to keep casting spells, and you can't draw much with Shaman, so building some kind of spell deck with Shaman, that's just incredibly difficult. And then we have Totemic Reflection. We still keep getting these totem synergy cards. At some point they probably will be enough of them to make a deck, like we have the weapon that makes copies of your totems, and this one give a minion +2/+2 if it's a totem, summon a copy of it. But the current problem of all this totem stuff is that totems started with so low tempo, and these are not really late game cards either. So you don't have tempo at the start of the game, then you're trying to play catch up, but you also don't have a late game strategy, so I just don't see it. And then there's Vivid Spores, which is an interesting card. 4 mana, give your minions Death Rattle, resummon this minion. But first you would have to have the board, and the board would have to have some decent minions in it that you want to resummon with this, so that you wouldn't want to use like Soul of the Murloc on them. And how are you going to do that as Shaman? Yeah. Shaman is already doing badly, and I'm not sure these pieces are really helping. This is a very common phenomenon in Hearthstone. Our class is good, and then class gets improvements for multiple expansions, it gets even better and even better and even better. Then they completely shut down good cards from the class, let it go down, and don't print anything for it for many, many expansions. That seems to be the common theme that happens over and over again with Hearthstone. And now Shaman is at the bottom. However, these are the best Shaman cards for the expansion. This is the hope of Shaman. The Serpent Shrine Portal, 3 mana, deal 3 damage, which can go face. Summon a random 3-cost minion, overload 1. The Lurker Below, 6 mana 6/3, battle cry, deal 3 damage to an enemy minion. If it dies, repeat on one of its neighbors. 3 damage, potentially possible, board clear. Boxtrap Clacker, 3 mana 3/3, battle cry, transform adjacent minions into random minions that cost 1 more, and Boxspine Knuckles, probably the best Shaman card in this expansion, by the way, this weapon. 5 mana 4/2, after your hero attacks, transform your minions into random ones that cost 1 more. So Shaman is being pushed into this evolve mechanic again. Once again. That's the nature of Shaman. That's what Blizzard wants Shaman to do. Get random stuff. Hope that you get good random stuff and win. And we have seen that Evo Shaman can work. We have seen that when you get enough rolls to get random stuff, you can get random stuff that wins games. And we're giving more rolls. So more chances to win the game. Great. So what kind of Shaman decks can we build with these tools? Well, let's start out with the obligatory Murloc Shaman. There always has to be a Murloc Shaman, because Shamans and Murlocs and Underbelly Angler is not rotating out yet, and as long as Underbelly Angler is in standard, some sort of Murloc Shaman will see play on some ranks at least. Right now, Murloc Shaman is doing one of the weakest runs it has had ever, because it's quite okay lower down on the ladder, but the higher you climb, the weaker it gets, and it just plummets. The new expansion will give the deck Felfin Navigator, but it'll give you other Murlocs +1/+1. It's also going to take away the draw Murloc, so you no longer have a Murloc that synergizes by drawing more Murlocs for you, which is why I have put the Signal Cult Master into this deck to try to get some card draw going. And Maiev Shadow Song. Battlecry, choose a minion, it goes dormant for 2 turns. If you're playing an aggressive deck, put something out for 2 turns, game will be over when it comes back. Then it won't matter. So Murloc Shaman is getting some improvements, but I'm not sure if those are enough to carry it to success. And I also wanted to try to build an Aggro Shaman. Aggro Shaman, as we currently know it, is going to just die. Because Thunderhead is going away, Spirit of the Frog is going away. It loses its ability to generate tokens, and it loses its ability to draw through its spells. And, well, what's left of the deck after that? Not a whole lot, but, well, this is what's left of the deck after that. So you could build it like this. There have been occasionally Aggro Shamans that have used some Murlocs in the opener. Not really Murloc Shamans, just a couple of Murlocs there because of Underbelly Angler and how good Underbelly Angler is. So Underbelly Angler had a couple of other Murlocs in the deck, give it a chance to go for some Murloc synergies, build up some Murloc boards. That's an alternative way to win games. The deck can use Lady Vashj, and when you get Lady Vashj, and when you get Vashj Prime, you win the game. Vashj Prime, draw 3 spells, reduce their cost by 3, none of your spells cost more than 3, so that's 3 free spells. They will be burn spells, and they will go face. So, draw Vashj Prime, get good at drawing Vashj Prime, and you can win games. Other than that, get some minions out early, get Storm's Wrath on them early, try to get value through that. Direct damage, burst, Maiev Shadow Song to delay the opponent, Cumulo Maximus, more burn, Doomhammer, rock by the weapon, boom boom, go face. This is as good of an idea as I could come up with for Aggro Shaman in the post-Thunderhead world. But if you don't want to play Aggro and you would like to play Shaman, then we move slowly towards something a little bit slower. So what about Galakrond? Galakrond is still a good card. It's still a good card even though every Galakrond synergy card was nerfed. But Galakrond is still strong, and you probably want to mix in some of these evolve synergies, especially the Boxbind Knuckles. So I've updated my Lucky Galakrond Shaman as a theorycraft for Ashes of Outland. Lucky Galakrond Shaman is probably the strongest mid-range Shaman deck that I have played, which isn't saying much because it's still a Shaman deck, and yeah, Shaman decks just aren't that strong right now. But it has the Lucky Opener, so it gets Luckies early on, then it moves over to those Galakrond synergies. And Mogul Flesh Shaper, some evolve effects, this time with Boxbind Knuckles and Mutate. So I've got the Explosive Evolution out of the deck, now that Boxbind Knuckles is available. And this sort of deck can fight for the tempo with the Lackeys early on, it can fight for the tempo with the Galakrond synergies a little bit later, and then it can try to get big swings with these evolve effects. So I have some hope that something like this might be able to succeed. You could also take a little bit more traditional route, because Quest Galakrond Shaman is like the most commonly played this sort of mid-range Shaman archetype at the moment. And you could update the Quest Galakrond Shaman for Ashes of Outland. Then it would look something like this. So there's still Lackeys, there's the Quest, there's all these Novice Engineers, Questing Explorers, Licensed Adventurers, Sky General Crag. And in this one you can use the Boxstruck Clacker, because you have the Quest, then you can transform adjacent minions into random minions that cost 2 more. And you still want to use the weapon. The Boxbind Knuckles, it's just nuts if you can get any sort of board and evolve that. And you still have access to all this Galakrond stuff too. But when you put in the quest, and you put in all those battle cries and all the quest synergy cards, then you have less room for stuff like Mogul Flesh Shapers, for example, for stuff like Mutates. cards that don't have battle cries, so that they don't advance your quest, so you really can't afford to be slow to get through your quest. You have to get it very early. But maybe there would be some kind of way to fit in at least the Mogus here. But the quest package and Galakrond package both take so much space that it's a bit difficult to mix them together. Well, if it's a bit difficult to mix them together, then why not just give up on one of them? And why not give up on the Galakrond package? So this is actually one of the Shaman decks that I'm afraid might become one of the strongest ones. This is probably the one that I have the greatest expectations of, which is a pure quest evolve Shaman. Bring back the Desert Hare. It's from Saviors of Uldum. It's not going away. It's still there. Summon 2 1/1 Desert Hares. Push that quest hero power. Summon 5 of them. Boom. Go face or anywhere with your Boxpine Knuckles. Evolve all of that stuff. Just do it. With this approach you can go really all in on this evolving. You can use the Boxdrop Clacker, you can use the Boxpine Knuckles, you can use the Mutate. I don't think Explosive Evolution makes the cut in this. It's a spell, so it doesn't synergize with the quest and it's a bit more expensive, so I think those 3 are your real choices here. Lots of stuff. Battle cries, complete your quest, start evolving that stuff. Barry's the engine to give you some additional value. Remember, there's no Shadowwalk anymore. You can't just Shadowwalk at the end and get your hand full again. You have to use some other tools if you need more resources. And just boom and go. I've always hated playing decks like this. I hate that, okay, I'm just suddenly going to get 5 random minions that cost 4 mana. Oh gee, what's going to come up? Maybe something good, maybe not. Who knows? Especially because there are so many options, so it's just really difficult to anticipate what you can get. But this is the way Blizzard wants us to play Shaman, and I have to admit that it has the potential to be very powerful when you hit those evolves right. But I promised some slower Shaman too, and I have built one. I actually built this for Hearthstone top decks. There's an article from me about control decks in Ashes of Outland over at Hearthstone top decks. You can check down below in the description, you can find a link to that one. And, well, yeah. First of all, I think the Shaman removal lines up extremely poorly with any sort of health that has ever been in the meta. Maybe it's going to be different in Ashes of Outland, but I have a hard time seeing that. You have stuff like Shadow Rumbler, 2 damage. Usually doesn't kill stuff. You have stuff like Haggadah Scheme. You have to get it in your mulligan, then it's great. If you don't, it's terrible. You top deck it at some point and it can't remove anything. You have stuff like Earthquake. It deals 7 damage to a single minion in a world full of 8/8 dragons, so no, it doesn't kill them. So everywhere, Shaman the tools are just all wrong. They just never fit what would be needed of them. And that is why I think that any sort of control Shaman attempt has to be a Highlander deck. Then you get Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, you have a swing turn, you have a win condition. Then you get Zephyrus the Great, you have some hard removal. That is the way to have some abilities available to you. And looking into the tools that Shaman has available, I admit I am desperate. I'm using Fist of Raden in this deck, and Fist of Raden is terrible. But come on, Fist of Raden, maybe I can high roll some great legendaries. Maybe I can win the game with that. Perhaps I even get to play Eye of the Storm someday. And who knows, perhaps that wins a game. And Bandage Mush. Bandage Mush, well, it wins games. I mean, it seriously does win games. You just wait and hope that it transforms into some really good legendary on turns 5, 6, 7 when it can still make a difference. And then you try to win the game with that. But yeah, it's not great, but I really put in a lot of effort. This is the best I can do. And you're losing Shadowrock and you're losing Haggadah the Witch, so then you have to play with Galakrond. You need some other hero power than the Totem. The Totem hero power is not going to do it for you. With Galakrond at least you get some 2/1 rush minions. You can do something more. And Galakrond gives you some potential to do some swing turns too. But that is just the state of Shaman at the moment. So even though I built 6 decks for Shaman, which is more than I have done for most other classes, that doesn't mean that Shaman is really strong, and I have been able to identify tons of potential decks that Shaman can play. That class then would be Hunter, by the way. Rather, it indicates that, okay, Shaman has a number of packages that you can try. There's some evolve tools, there's some Galakrond stuff, there's some spell things, There's some Murlocs, there's some Overload stuff. And you can try to find that maybe some combination of these things is actually able to win games. And if I were to place bets, I would bet on the pure Evolve deck first, and then the Lucky Galakrond deck second. But overall, if you want to play Shaman, be ready for a lot of random stuff. And if you like that, then Shaman might be a decent class to play. I mean, I guess Mage and Rogue are even better for that. They get actually good random stuff, but random stuff, play Shaman.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.